Mole Mama. We're going to be making empanadas con carnitas and this wonderful hopalong cheese from Cowgirl Creamery. You can taste the love in every bite that you take. And I really wanted to create a super special recipe to accommodate their new cheese. It's apple cider washed cheese. It's really got a unique flavor to it, and it melts just beautifully. Oh my gosh, when it's melted. So I went through all of my family recipes and started thinking about some of my favorite things that I grew up eating. And my family used to make carnitas, old school. They would dig a hole in the ground, because I grew up on a farm, put some wood in, with a giant cazuela, huge pan, big, huge hunks of pork, and they would stir it, and the smoke would simmer over it while it was cooking. And so you'd have carnitas that were crunchy on the outside, tender inside, and had a smoke flavor. I recently figured out how to make those carnitas with my smoker. I'm not digging a hole in my yard and smoking out the neighbors, but I do have a smoker, and my favorite pellets are maple bourbon. So I have some carnitas that I made, and this hopalong cheese, this combination between this cheese with the carnitas, and then also I'm going to make a tomatillo salsa, so a little bit of spice, really just is an amazing flavor. And then I'm going to put it in empanada and bake it. So here are the carnitas that I made in my smoker. We're going to chop them all up. I'm going to make a tomatillo salsa. The tomatillos are right here. So tomatillos are basically green tomatoes. We're going to use some serranos, some jalapenos, some garlic, and then we're going to make our empanada dough, put it in an empanada with the carnitas and this lovely cheese, and we're going to bake it, and we're going to have all kinds of cheese goodness. I'm so excited that you're here, and we're going to have fun. So we're going to get started with our tomatillo salsa first. First step that we're going to do is we're going to actually cook our tomatoes and our serrano chiles and our jalapeno chiles, and we're just going to do that in a pot. Now you can roast these things, but since I already smoked my carnitas, I didn't want to add more smoky flavor to this. Now these tomatillos, they have a skin on them, so they're, like I mentioned, they're green tomatoes, and the skin, they're like a little present. You just peel them off. See, super easy. See how easy that is? And I'm going to rinse everything off and throw it on the stove, and then we're going to throw it in a blender and add a few more ingredients, and we'll have our tomatillo salsa. Here's all the ingredients that we're going to be using, so let's just go ahead and get started. And as I mentioned earlier, everything will be down in the notes. I like to use butter in my empanadas because I just love butter. Into our empanadas along with the carnitas and the little tomatillo salsa that we made. So we're just going to cut these up, take off the stems and the edges. We're going to put it in a skillet. We're going to add in some of that Tomatillo salsa into our grated zucchini, just a little. The carnitas are pretty dry by themselves unless you add a salsa or something, so that's part of why we're doing this, to add some more flavor, another layer of flavor, but also that they're not super dry with the dough and with the cheese to get into all of this. So we're going to mix this all up and heat it up on the stove, and we're only going to cook it on the stove probably for about 2 or 3 minutes. We don't want to overcook the zucchini. The zucchini is going to continue to cook inside the empanadas, but we just want to get it warmed up and have it ready. We're going to take our hopalong and we're going to grate it so that we can put it in those empanadas. Oh, it smells so delicious. All right, I'm going to cut off all the rind, and I'm going to go ahead and do that first. And I've kept this in the refrigerator, so usually, you know, if you're going to serve these cheeses, especially these an artisan cheese like this, you almost always want everything to be room temperature. But since we're going to be grating this, and this cheese is soft, I would recommend that it's on the soft. This cheese is on the softer side. I'd recommend leaving it in the fridge up until that moment when you actually are going to start using it. When you're going to actually grate it, because it's going to make it easier for you to grate. And you could, you know, put this into a food processor and grate it that way. I'm just going to, for today, I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way with a hand grater. The other thing I recommend doing is using, if you are using a hand grater, is using the small side, so that because you're putting it in empanadas, it's just going to, I tested it, it works better if you do it on the small side. All right, there we go. There we have our yummy hopalong cheese. It's all ready for our empanadas. Oh boy, we're getting close. hope you've enjoyed our new empanada, the Hopanada from Cowgirl Creamery with their Hopalong organic cheese. It's amazing. You can find it at Whole Foods. Here's all of our empanadas, including the creamy Tomatillo sauce with avocados for dipping with your empanadas. I think you can find the Hopalong cheese at Whole Foods. And please try this recipe. If you have any questions, please reach out. And as my mother always said to me as we said our goodbyes, que Dios te bendiga. May God bless you all, may you be well, and may you be safe.